Now, we see Hongwu, who has cleared the 50th floor of the Trial of Fear. He thinks this year's exam is really tough, and he is sure to get first place as his only competition is Qin, but her points are halved for being in a team. The title of the top scholar of the southern province will be his. Then he starts to say, "Dear principal, are they watching him? Contact the top 10 academies for his admission." But the principals just ignore him and talk about Lu Fan. They mention that the trial on the 50th floor is where many scholars struggled, but even if Lu Fan passes it, his speed will be reduced. Then we see Lu Fan reaching the 50th floor and checking his dragon's new skill of shape transformation. Can now change into Destruction Dragon and World Ender forms. Suddenly, they notice something. There are 3 monsters called Amethyst Mountain Giants. One principal says, how can he face 3 nightmare bosses? This will really slow him down. Next, we see the monsters try to attack Lu Fan, but his dragon easily counters them. Lu Fan tells his dragon to transform into its World Ender form. As the dragon begins to rise, Principal Bai is shocked. The dragon slowly starts its transformation, and we see it in its World Ender form, where its strength is increased, but its spirit is decreased. Everyone is shocked to see the dragon switch combat forms. Mr. Qin says that such a transformation sends shivers down his spine. Then, we see Lu Fan dodging an attack and using dragon inspiration, further boosting the dragon's stats. The dragon attacks with Mighty Jaw Assault, crushing the monster. The principal is shocked to see a level 20 boss shattered, and Principal Bai thinks that the Dragon Claw skill to attack. We see a huge blast, and Mr. Qin says to the envoy, doesn't he feel fortunate that he stopped him from taking Lu Fan away? The scene shifts to Lu Fan in the air, in front of the monster, as the dragon uses a roar skill to make the enemies vulnerable. Lu Fan says he will deliver the final blow, but his dragon uses a skill to create a huge hole, and the monster falls into it, defeated. Both Lu Fan and his dragon level up, and Lu Fan thinks, nightmare difficulty is not a big issue for me, and my choice to select it was correct. Then, they both move toward the portal for the next level. We then see Mr. Qin say that Lu Fan won't be slowed down by the 50th floor. The principal adds that the dragon's strength far exceeds his understanding. Principal Bai asks the envoy, according to your experience, what was the dragon's strength value after changing its form? The envoy says he has seen many experts in action, and if he compares, it must be at least 2,500 points. The number 3 middle school's principal is shocked, and Principal Bai thinks the dragon's attributes will only increase from now on. Another principal says, from now on, X+1 mode will start. Mr. Qin asks, what is that? Principal Bai explains that it was established by the scholars who designed the tower. After the 50th floor, every floor will have a large number of monsters and 1 boss monster, making it like a secret realm. In Nightmare level, it will be replaced with Nightmare level bosses. And also, there will be multiple bosses with increased attributes. Mr. Qin says, it's indeed formidable, but let's turn our attention to Lu Fan. We then see Lu Fan easily cutting down monsters, and his level rises to 18 while the dragon reaches level 13. He thinks that the difficulty has increased, but with the World Ender form, he doesn't need strategies and tells the dragon to follow his lead. Watching this, Principal Bai says, in just a few minutes, Lu Fan has already reached the 70th floor. The other principal adds that this year the difficulty has been increased, and he had doubts if anyone could reach the 80th floor, but he was wrong. We then see Lu Fan easily clear the 76th floor, and a giant worm attacks him, but the dragon easily grabs it, and Lu Fan finishes it off, clearing the 83rd floor. Then we see Principal Bai say, many geniuses push themselves to their limits and die in the grand trial. Mr. Qin responds, who would want to step away from the ultimate reward of the grand test? Principal Bai, pointing towards the score, says, Lu Fan is different. He might be the only candidate in the last decade or so capable of clearing all 100 floors. Another principal says, although the bosses are not as powerful as they are in their original realm, let's not forget about the difficulty of the 99th floor. Then another principal exclaims, he has reached the 99th floor, and they are shocked. We then see Lu Fan on the 99th floor. There is a chair and some warriors on the sides, but they are headless. Suddenly, all the candles light up, and we see the boss of the 99th floor, the headless knight, getting ready. Lu Fan thinks, all the secret realms stem from real history, and this one is from the Shattered Kingdom, which is quite famous. Then one of the bosses attacks with his axe. Lu Fan steps back and jumps, thinking that he needs to kill all 4 of them since they share a health pool. A monster with a spear attacks, but Lu Fan defends and looks at another monster. Then, another monster with a sword strikes at him, but he blocks it with his own sword and calls for his dragon. The dragon easily crushes them, and we see a castle being destroyed. Lu Fan praises the dragon, but then the monsters wake up and attack him. He blocks them, but now he is surrounded. He jumps high and thinks he can't continue this, so he tells his dragon to use the lava blaze skill. The dragon attacks them with the skill. The monsters resist, but they are easily defeated by the dragon, thus clearing level 99. The dragon levels up to level 15 and acquires a new skill, Cataclysm. Lu Fan also reaches level 20. We then see the principal, shocked, saying, "The door for the last trial of Nightmare has opened." Mr. Chin adds, "Today we are going to witness history." Principal Bai says, "They never intended for a candidate to pass this level." We see Lu Fan entering the 100th floor. It is the complete Broken Kingdom's secret realm, consisting of over 500 undead legion soldiers and the Emperor, who is level 60. Lu Fan looks at the new Cataclysm skill and tells his dragon to make a final push and get the rewards. He then tells the dragon to switch to its new form, the Destruction Dragon. We see the dragon switching forms, and its spirit increases. Everyone watching is shocked, seeing the new form. The enemy general orders the undead legion to attack and protect the king. The undead legion attacks, and we see Lu Fan and the dragon go into battle. Lu Fan fights the undead monsters and commands the dragon to use the new Cataclysm skill. The dragon begins to use the skill, and the number of undead soldiers starts decreasing rapidly. Everyone is shocked, and the principal asks, "Is this a skill an examinee can master?" Mr. Chin responds, "Almost the entire legion is wiped out." We then see Lu Fan moving ahead and being attacked by 4 horseman monsters, which he easily dodges. He calls for the dragon, and it dives down, using the skill's effect to easily kill them. The principal watching says, "They were easily eliminated," and Mr. Chin thinks, "We can't even test Lu Fan's strength, even in the most difficult trials." Looking at the points, they mention that a level that hasn't been broken in 30 years, 1 million points, might be broken today. Principal Bai says, with this year's difficult exam, he will at least get 3 rare quality items. Finally, we see Lu Fan ready to fight the final boss. And now, we see the final boss, the Emperor, the only one still standing. Lu Fan tells the dragon to get ready. The boss attacks, but Lu Fan blocks with his dragon claw. Then, the dragon uses its fire skill and the boss is pushed back. The boss notices his strength has decreased. It was because of Lu Fan's ring. The boss calls it a despicable trick, but Lu Fan orders the dragon to attack, and it uses Fire Tornado, throwing the boss back to his chair. Lu Fan then jumps and attacks, piercing the boss's chest and the chair. After defeating the boss easily, he levels up to 22, and the dragon levels up to 17. We then see Principal Bai saying, "The 1,000,000 points threshold has been reached," and Mr. Chin adds, "Now, his school will soar to new heights." We see Lu Fan saying to the dragon, "The nightmare challenge is over. Do you want to eat Auntie's cooking?" Then, a reward for clearing the nightmare level trial appears. It contains a skill book called Wrath of the Ice Dragon King, a Wind Spirit Ring, and a Flame Frost legendary cloak. Lu Fan decides to head back and let the dragon rest. When he comes out of the trial, the principal tells him that he is the top scorer and the pride of his school. From now on, his photo will always be in the school's Hall of Fame. Another principal says, "That's for the heroes who died against the monster invasion. Are you cursing him?" The scene then shifts to the northwest territory of the Dragon Kingdom, where someone is watching Lu Fan's trial footage while drinking. Satisfied, he says, "It's refreshing. This man is Marquis Tu Jiang." Someone knocks on the door, and he says, "Come in." A person enters and says, "Sorry to disturb you," while handing him some files. The old man asks, "Did you find any evidence?" The person replies, "Yes, it's here. We learn that Lord Ruan Chenfeng was colluding with the Jin family of Taichi Kingdom. The princess's study abroad and the recruitment of the Dragon Tamer were also approved by Lord Ruan." The old man, angrily breaking the bottle, says, "It's really him." The man continues, "The Jin family and Lord Ruan maintain diplomatic relations on the surface." The old man says, "No wonder they sent a special envoy to arrest the Dragon Tamer." Getting up, he says, "That traitor helps the Taichi princess run rampant in the Dragon Kingdom." He orders, "Strip Ruan of all duties and power. He will no longer have a high rank in Dragon City. If he has any problem, he should meet me." He also orders, Send a Griffin squad to watch the Jin family and make sure they don't contact Chunfeng again. Also, keep an eye on the academy Lu Fan chooses and inform the principal to provide him with the best resources. Looking out the window, he thinks, I need to meet this legendary youth one day, as soon as my work here is finished. Then, the scene shifts to the city, where the princess learns that Ruan Chenfeng was dismissed by the Marquis of the North. The man on the call tells her not to be angry, as he has great news. She asks, what great news could you possibly have? He replies, we found another Dragon Tamer in Qingzhou City. She smirks and says, this is indeed good news. I hope this person can understand the situation. Then we see Hongwu coming out of his trial, thinking he was about to die. After making it to the 72nd level, he is confident that the top spot is definitely his and that the top 10 academies will be fighting over him. Seeing the crowd, he says, what's so lively? So many principals are here, and thinks that they must be here for him. He expects his principal to praise him. Hongwu approaches and greets his principal, who says, oh, it's you. Have you finished the trial? Hongwu replies that the trial is complete and mentions he only got 89,000 points. He wonders if he can still take the top spot. The principal says he did okay and can choose any of the top 10 academies. Hongwu thinks, why did the principal say I did okay? He assumes his principal is just trying to keep him from becoming arrogant and offering a reminder to stay humble. He tells the principal, I understand, and thank you for the guidance. 7 days pass, and on the day of the results, we see Lu Fan and his auntie shocked by the number of people visiting them. Mr. Qin arrives and says, today is the results day, and everyone knows about the South Province's top scorer. Auntie invites Mr. Qin inside to talk. Lu Fan checks his phone and sees that his score hasn't been disclosed, but he has received a prize of 50 million. Mr. Qin explains, this is the reward principle by Cent. A rare skill book called The Roar of the Blue Dragon King, Thunder Potion, Green Wind Armor, and the legendary Flash Wing Boots. Lu Fan, surprised, says, that skill can only be used by second-tier mages. Just then, Qin Qiu arrives and says she's here to take Lu Fan for his interview with the 10 great academies, who have arrived in Jinghai City. Lu Fan is surprised. So early? The results were just announced. Mr. Qin says, after seeing your big exam video, all 10 academies rushed here immediately. Also, your scores are being kept hidden by the teacher. Only the top great academies and top officials of Dragon City have seen them. The teacher has also taken care of the Jin family and wants to meet you. Lu Fan replies, I also want to thank him in person. Mr. Qin advises, it's not the right time. He is on a mission. Qin Qiu then gives him a card worth 10 million dragon coins, saying, we were here last time for this, but the princess showed up. Lu Fan refuses, reminding them that they had agreed on only 100,000. Mr. Qin insists, it's a token of gratitude for saving Qin Qiu, and the city is going to give you a villa as the top scorer in the southern province. Qin Qiu, grabbing Lu Fan's hand, leads him to the academy representatives. Meanwhile, outside the city of Qingzhou, the princess asks about the level of a tamer. The guy replies, he is level 19, and the armored dragon is level 14. The princess comments, dragon tamers are truly different. We then see the armored dragon and another dragon tamer, Chun Tianji, facing a level 30 boss. The boss attacks, and Chun Tianji jumps, telling his dragon to use sweep. The dragon attacks, and Chun Tianji finishes it with his dragon lance strike, defeating the monster. He levels up to 20, and the dragon levels up to 15. The princess claps and says, you did not disappoint me or waste the dragon egg. She turns to the other guy and says, from now on, his dragon lance will belong to the dragon tamer. The guy replies, I will obey the princess's order. The dragon tamer, filled with confidence, says, with the dragon lance and the princess's buff, I can easily defeat the top scorer of the southern region. Angrily, the princess says, remember the name Lu Fan. You have to kill him and take his black dragon. She adds, I will make you stronger, and you must not disappoint me. He replies, it is my honor, and I will forever be your knight. She smiles and says, you are wise. Then, she orders Cui Hongtai, the black armored man, to find out which academy Lu Fan will attend. She thinks to herself that soon, Lu Fan will regret everything he has done. Don't forget to subscribe for such amazing content. Then we see Lu Fan standing outside the Qin family's reception hall. Qin Qiu asks him if he has decided on which academy to apply to. Blushing, she mentions that her father suggested they attend the same academy so they can look after each other. Lu Fan agrees and says, teamwork is important in academic institutions, and adds that she'll be his first choice for going into the wilderness together. She blushes even more, but Lu Fan admits that he hasn't made a final decision on the academy yet. Qin Qiu, thinking that she needs to catch up to him or risk the distance between them growing, says she will try her best to apply to the same academy. Lu Fan smiles and says, that sounds good. As they enter the hall, Lu Fan begins to introduce himself, but is interrupted by a fat man who immediately recognizes him. He's Lu Fan. We've all seen his exam video. A woman also chimes in, acknowledging that he is the first dragon tamer in history to have a dragon. The fat man, looking at the woman, says that his academy is offering a 10 million dragon coin annual scholarship, along with free potions and access to secret realms. The woman cuts in, saying that such offers are insufficient to recruit the top scorer. She ups the offer to 20 million dragon coins and even more rewards. The two of them start arguing, and Lu Fan is left feeling overwhelmed and unsure of which academy to choose. At that moment, Gu Han, head of Dragon Capital Academy, steps in. She states that the academy has the national trial quota for this year and offers to give it to Lu Fan. Everyone gasps, shocked that such an important opportunity is being given to a freshman. He may be strong, but he's just been discovered. Other countries have been preparing their candidates for much longer, they argue. Lu Fan thinks about the national trial. The Dragon Capital Academy's head insists that those who pass the national trial are elevated to national-level experts. Hearing this, Lu Fan considers the great rewards and the potential for advancing his strength. Just then, he receives a divine treasure map, similar to the one that led him to the Black Dragon Egg. The map points directly to Dragon Capital Academy. Seeing this as a sign, Lu Fan accepts the academy's offer. For days later, we see Lu Fan closing his shop, bags in hand. His auntie expresses sadness about leaving their home, but Lu Fan reassures her, saying, what's there to be reluctant about? We have a villa now. Auntie nostalgically recalls how Lu Fan first moved in as a kid. Then, Qin Qiu and Tao Xiaoman call from a car, ready to pick them up. Tao Xiaoman mentions that, as they are all going to Dragon City Academy, her family has booked a train for the trip. She replies that she scored the same as Qin Qiu, and after seeing her reply, she decided to follow suit. As Auntie Han Jie gets in the car, she expresses her gratitude to Lu Fan for talking to the Academy's representatives to admit her as well. She cries, saying she never thought she would see her dream of attending a higher academy come true. Lu Fan comforts her, telling her not to cry. Qin Qiu urges them to hurry, and they all set off toward their new future. Their plane takes off and soon they arrive at Dragon Capital Academy. As they take in their surroundings, a sudden noise interrupts them. It's the princess, stepping out of her car. She and Lu Fan glare at each other, both aware of the tension between them. The Dragon Tamer beside the princess offers to deal with Lu Fan, but another man intervenes to stop him. The princess, remaining calm, warns that without Wan Chenfeng, starting a fight here would result in them being sent back to their country. It's not the right time yet, she says. The Dragon Tamer apologizes and stands down, while Auntie Han Jie also calms Lu Fan. Just then, Gu Han appears and announces, both have arrived. Looking back, Lu Fan realizes she is referring to him and Chun Tianji. Gu Han comments, don't tell me you don't know each other. You are the first and second place Dragon Tamers of the Southern Province. Here, you're known as the Twin Stars of the South. Lu Fan is surprised to learn that Chun Tianji is also a Dragon Tamer. Chun Tianji says he's heard about Lu Fan for a long time. Don't forget to subscribe for such amazing content. After hearing about their long journey, Lu Fan suggests that they rest first. Gu Han agrees and offers to show them the accommodations while explaining the freshman orientation scheduled for tomorrow. The princess, however, says they will manage on their own. As they walk, Lu Fan sees a row of impressive villas. The teacher explains that these villas are assigned to the top 30 students based on the teacher's comprehensive ranking of the exam videos. Lu Fan, being ranked first, gets the number 1 villa, while Chun Tianji, ranked 18th, gets the 18th villa. Qin Qiu and Tao Xiaoman, realizing they won't be in the top 30, ask if they should head to the dormitories instead. Teacher Gu offers to show them the way, but Auntie Han Jie, grabbing Lu Fan's arm, asks if they can live together in villa number 1. The teacher says there's no rule against it, as long as the resident has no objections. Auntie asks Lu Fan if he doesn't want to eat her cooking anymore. Lu Fan, smiling, says he definitely doesn't mind. Auntie, delighted, insists that living together will improve their teamwork. Both Qin Xiu and Tao Xiaoman blush but agree to stay with Lu Fan, seeing the villa is too big for just him. Auntie then pulls Qin Xiu aside, saying she'll enjoy her cooking. Tao Xiaoman, on the other hand, warns Lu Fan not to have any funny ideas about Qin Xiu, as she'll be keeping an eye on him. Suddenly, Lu Fan receives a notification that the treasure is nearby. He suspects it's in Villa number 2. Curiously, he asks the teacher who lives there, and she tells him it's just one girl from Yunbei province. He tells Auntie and the others to go ahead to Villa number 1, while he checks on the neighbor. Auntie jokingly tells him to bring a gift, and Tao Xiaoman, thinking he's already trying to chat with the neighbor despite living with 3 girls, feels like she's underestimated him, brushes it off and heads to Villa number 2. Standing at the door, Lu Fan nervously wonders if the neighbor will like Auntie's cake. As the door opens, he introduces himself as Lu Fan from Villa number 1 and offers the cake as a gift. The girl, who introduces herself as Jianing from Yunbei province, accepts the gift quietly. Her soft voice catches Lu Fan's attention, and he casually asks if he can come inside for a drink of water. Jianing nods, allowing him inside. Once in, Lu Fan quickly makes a dash to find the treasure. He searches the bedroom, noticing clothes on the bed, then checks the bathroom, and finally locates the treasure in a small room. It's a jade dragon egg. Just as he's about to leave, Jianing returns with water. Panicking, Lu Fan bolts out of the villa, mumbling that he's no longer thirsty. Jianing, seeing that he went into her bedroom, is left thinking he's a pervert. Later that night, we see Lu Fan and his black dragon inspecting the jade dragon egg. Lu Fan uses his dragon taming skill, and the egg hatches, revealing a baby jade dragon. As Lu Fan looks at the dragon's stats, he realizes it's not a combat type but a support type with over 600 spirit points. One of its traits, the jade dragon bloodline, doubles the effects of all its skills, makes it immune to debuffs, and increases self-healing by 50%. Lu Fan calculates that during the exam, the Black Dragon's spirit attribute increased to 7,000 with a 30% boost from Dragon Encouragement. If he combines that with the Jade Dragon's Jade Light skill, their combined spirit stats would be nearly 12,000 points. As both dragons play together, Lu Fan learns that the Jade Dragon can assimilate and upgrade equipment. He imagines how powerful it will become if it assimilates many items. While thinking about what name to give the Jade Dragon, he notices the 2 dragons making mischief. He picks up the baby Jade Dragon and decides to name it Xiaofei. The next day, during the freshman enrollment ceremony, Lu Fan asks if life professions and combat professions don't attend the ceremony together. Qin Xiu confirms, explaining that Sister Han had to go to a different location for hers. Tao Xiaoman then teasingly asks Lu Fan why his room was noisy last night, but before he can explain, they overhear students commenting on the beauty of Qin Xiu and Tao Xiaoman. Some even joke that going into the secret realm with such beauties, even if it meant dying, would be worth it. Others notice Lu Fan and wonder if both girls are his girlfriends. The trio reaches their seats, but Tao Xiaoman has to sit at the back since she isn't a hidden professional. Lu Fan notices Hongwu, the martial artist from the entrance exam. Smiling at him, Lu Fan expects a friendly reaction, but Hongwu looks angry, recalling the principal's words about the difference between them. Hongwu seems determined to finally confront Lu Fan. Suddenly, the vice principal, Zhao Shengming, a level 78 Thunder Mage, arrives and introduces himself. He welcomes everyone and quickly explains the importance of their ID cards. The ID cards, distributed by the teachers, will serve as all-purpose credentials at Dragon Capital Academy, storing their personal points, which are used to access the secret realm, buy weapons, potions, and other necessities. When Lu Fan checks his ID card, he sees he has 13,539 points, which were awarded based on his entrance exam performance. Another student raises a question about the varying difficulties in different provinces, asking if higher scores are easier to achieve in less difficult regions. The vice principal explains that the academy has accounted for this by dividing the scores based on a difficulty coefficient. This year, the hardest trial was from the southern region, with a coefficient of 96. Lu Fan reflects on his points, realizing that this is all the currency he currently has in Dragon City. The vice principal then announces that in a month, The freshman assessment will once again determine their points, and the top 30 students will enter the prestigious blue class, which comes with special rewards. Students start buzzing about the opportunity, while Lu Fan considers that since he's currently in first place, losing his ranking would mean losing his villa. The vice principal adds that any student can challenge a blue class member for their spot, and if a blue class member loses, they must give up their spot. A blue leaderboard appears, showing Lu Fan at the top. Seeing his name on the leaderboard, Lu Fan stands, and the crowd starts gossiping about him, wondering if he really has a dragon. Chun Tianji asks the princess if he should take down Lu Fan, but she advises caution, saying that Lu Fan's true strength is still unclear, so it's better not to act rashly. Qin Qiu then mentions that the vice principal seems to be pushing Lu Fan forward, encouraging everyone to challenge him. Lu Fan hadn't expected this situation. After the ceremony ends, Lu Fan starts thinking about leveling up the Jade Dragon and suggests they visit the secret realm hall to check out the realms provided by the academy. Just then, Hongwu steps forward and shocks everyone by openly challenging Lu Fan to a duel. Lu Fan, a bit surprised, asks if Hongwu really wants to challenge him. Hongwu, remembering that challenges can't be refused, insists on it. He believes that Lu Fan must have summoned many subdragon species to pass the entrance trial and that if he targets Lu Fan directly, he can win. Lu Fan accepts the challenge, and Hongwu bets 200 points, which Lu Fan agrees to match. The students around them start whispering that Dragon Tamers must be similar to summoners. The princess, watching intently, says this will be a good opportunity to see what Lu Fan is capable of. As the countdown begins, Tao Xiaoman nervously asks Qin Qiu if Lu Fan will lose, but Qin Qiu admits that she hasn't seen Lu Fan fight yet. The countdown reaches 3, and just as it ends, Hongwu charges at Lu Fan, launching the first attack. Don't forget to subscribe for such amazing content. Using the Qi accumulation strike, Hongwu tries to punch Lu Fan, but Lu Fan suddenly vanishes using blink. Hongwu thinks, isn't that a second-tier mage's skill? Looking back, he sees Lu Fan, who is asking, is that your full power? Hongwu starts to prepare a skill and says that Lu Fan is courting death, then uses Qi Rising Wave, but Lu Fan easily dodges it. Hongwu thinks, as long as I prevent Lu Fan from summoning his dragon, I can win. But Lu Fan reaches him and is about to kick him. Hongwu uses a defense skill, but Lu Fan easily kicks through it. Bleeding, Hongwu thinks, how did I lose? Everyone is shocked to see Lu Fan defeat Hongwu without summoning his dragon. People in the crowd murmur that they wanted to see the dragon. Lu Fan says, my skills are lacking. I barely exerted any force and he's already down. Then we see the princess asking Chun about his confidence in beating Lu Fan. He says, I'm 30% confident, but with your buff it will be 70%. Looking at Lu Fan, she says, that's actually quite high. Lu Fan approaches Hongwu and takes 200 points from his card. Hongwu notices Lu Fan's card has 13,739 coins and calculates in his mind that Lu Fan has 1.3 million exam points. He thinks, second place, Chun Tianzi only has 210,000 points. I should never have thought about beating Lu Fan. The scene then shifts to the Academy's secret realm hall, where we see Auntie Han asking if Lu Fan is hurt, as someone challenged him. He reassures Auntie Han not to worry. Tao Xiaoman says Lu Fan easily kicked Hongwu away, and Qin Qiu adds that when she first met Lu Fan, he was already stronger than Uncle Gu. Lu Fan then says, since everyone is here, we should look at the secret realm. Poison Spider Forest. He explains that this realm offers the most experience points and is perfect for leveling up. Auntie Han, however, expresses concern, saying that even if Lu Fan called her just to fill the numbers, it is still a level 45 realm and people could die. He can lead them safely. Tao Xiaoman points out that they still need one more person. Qin Qiu suggests they ask their neighbor, as she's strong and a level 45 secret realm won't be a problem for her. Lu Fan goes to her and says hello, but her expression changes. He thinks it's because of a misunderstanding when he took the egg. Lu Fan explains that they are also looking for the dungeon, and everyone looks at Lu Fan. Tao Xiaoman asks what he has done. Lu Fan explains it was just a misunderstanding last time he greeted her and assures everyone that he's a normal person. He tells her that they need one more person for the Poison Spider secret realm. After thinking for a moment, she agrees and everyone gets excited. Lu Fan offers to cover the points for everyone, but she insists on paying her own and enters the dungeon. Lu Fan notices that she has 8,000 points and thinks her strength must be really good. They also enter the poison spider forest, and Auntie Han comments that even the air here is uncomfortable to breathe. While walking, Tao Xiaoman asks, "Why did you choose the fear difficulty?" Lu Fan explains again that this dungeon provides the maximum experience. She replies, "That's not what I meant." Then Auntie Han takes out some biscuits that increase experience gain for 1 hour and gives them to everyone. When she hands one to Jianing asks, "Was the cake last time also made by you?" Auntie Han says, "Of course. I can make more for you if you'd like." Qin Xiu adds, "Sister Han's cooking is delicious. You should come over to eat any time." Seeing them, Jianing smiles. Suddenly, Lu Fan hears something and tells everyone to be careful, as he has spotted a monster, a level 40 black-scaled python. Xiaoman rushes to attack, and Qin Xiu tries to stop her, but her attack has no effect on the monster. Qin Xiu says, "That monster is level 40, you can't beat it easily." Auntie Han offers to make something to boost everyone's resistance, but Lu Fan says there's no need and uses summoning magic. Xiaoman and Jianing notice and think he's summoning the dragon. The Jade dragon appears, and everyone is confused. Xiaoman asks, "Is that a dragon?" The dragon then sits on Lu Fan's head. Qin Xiu and Auntie Han are shocked as they've never seen this dragon before. Just then, the python attacks Xiaoman, and Lu Fan tells the dragon to use emerald light. Xiaoman is knocked back, and Qin Xiu rushes to heal her. Xiaoman realizes that the damage was blocked. We see the skill description for emerald light, and Lu Fan says, "With the dragon here, you can relax. There's no need to worry about any debuffs or injuries." Qin Xiu remarks, "It's better than a second-tier priest." Xiaoman adds, "Dragons are really powerful." The python attacks again, and Auntie Han warns them to be careful. Lu Fan is ready to handle it with his sword, but suddenly something flies past him and strikes the python. It's Jian Ying's sword, which kills the beast. She says, "Don't waste time here. We've already been targeted." Lu Fan watches and thinks, this is how a swordmaster attacks. Her strength is really impressive. Jianing notices something else, and Lu Fan tells Auntie Han to get down. We see Auntie Han being attacked by another monster, but Lu Fan and Jianing save her. They realize that the monster is immune to the sword's armor break effect. It's a silver-armored spider. Jianing rushes forward to attack, but her skill has no effect. Lu Fan also charges in, warning her to be careful, and strikes the monster, defeating it. Jianing says, "Don't let your guard down. There isn't just one spider." Suddenly, we see many more spiders approaching. Jianing uses another sword skill and says, "Black web hunters are also present." The spider stats appear, revealing they are level 45. They both run toward the monster, and Lu Fan remarks that Jian Ying's weapons are all class exclusive and far from ordinary. They dodge an attack, and she replies, "I can forge my own weapons, and each weapon levels up with me." She uses a frost skill and says, "This isn't the time for introductions." Lu Fan thinks it's similar to a dragon master. One levels up their pet, the other levels up their weapon. Suddenly, a monster attacks Jianing from behind, but Lu Fan blocks it and commands the Jade dragon to use emerald light. Jianing then uses her mountain shaker skill on a spider, easily defeating it. She thanks Lu Fan for the 30% attribute boost. Lu Fan thinks, with different swords working together, the swordmaster is a versatile class. Just then, they hear something and realize the other three are surrounded by monsters. Lu Fan rushes toward them, telling Jianing to find the black web hunter. She pauses, looking at everyone fighting, and suddenly Lu Fan warns, "Be careful of web bind." 3 webs shoot toward Jianing, but with her sword and the Jade Dragon skill, she blocks them. However, she gets injured and moves deeper to find the monster. Lu Fan commands the Jade Dragon to heal everyone, and Qin Xiu urges him to help Jianing, saying they can hold off the monsters with the help of emerald light. Lu Fan agrees and rushes off, leaving the others to defend themselves. He enters an area filled with webs and sees the monster standing in front of a wounded Jianing. Lu Fan commands the Jade Dragon to use emerald light again. Jianing insists she can take the monster down. Lu Fan suggests, "Let's go together." Jianing uses her sword while Lu Fan strikes with Dragon Fang Strike. She thinks the strength difference is huge, but she feels reassured. The Jade Dragon levels up to level 3, and Lu Fan comments that when they clear the dungeon, he will be at least level 5. Jianing muses, "There's actually a day when I'm treated as a weakling and helped." The others arrive, and Qin Xiu says they've dealt with the spiders. Auntie Han announces that she's leveled up, and Lu Fan says, "You're strong. But no matter how strong you are, we won't let our teammate fight alone." Hearing this, Jianing blushes. Auntie then asks Lu Fan why he didn't use Emerald Light on himself. He replies, "I don't need it." The Jade Dragon then uses Fountain of Life, healing everyone. Jianing, watching them, thinks having teammates doesn't feel so bad after all. Xiaoman, looking at the map, says, "It ends here. Did we reach the end?" She asks Lu Fan about the large area ahead. As they approach, Qin Cho asks, "What is that?" They see a dark aura, and Lu Fan says, "That's the lair of the Secret Realms boss." Don't forget to subscribe for such amazing content.